Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women. It is Geeter-Burns again. I'm hoping that you're enjoying your life during these extreme, unique, and challenging times. Hopefully, this will take your mind off of everything. We're going to continue our Retro Bowl Detroit Lions Retro Bowl Championship saga. And as you can see, when we last left off, we gave the Minnesota team quite a pummeling on dynamic. And as you can see, if you can see, the dynamic is at dynamic 9 for that game, and then dynamic 8. So the dynamic level is increasing every game depending on how much we win. The dynamic level maxes out at 16, which is just as hard as level hard, or a little bit harder than level hard, depending on the team that you're playing. Now, the creator mentioned that dynamic will never be harder than hard, but I found games where I blew out a team on hard. That was like a 5-level team, and I struggled against a dynamic 16 team on that was at a 5-star level. So it all depends on who you're playing when your dynamic goes higher. So we have Baltimore next, and in between the videos, I had an opportunity to adjust the jerseys. So just to make sure, we're going to go on easy level. That's already been done. I believe that I've already adjusted the end zone for Baltimore. I'll double check just to make sure. So we're going to go with the black and purple. Yeah, the black end zone is fine. So we'll go ahead and get this game started right away. And we have a dilemma to deal with. We'll get the coaching credit because we're not going to keep that coach anyway, or that defensive coordinator anyway. And I'll get the stadium improved to get a better fan base. And we upgraded our stadium for the first time. As a quick refresher, increasing the stadium level makes your fan base grow faster when you're doing something good, and it slows down the fan base decrease if you're doing something that the fans or the team does not like. So as you can see, Baltimore is a pretty good team. This is probably the best team we played, but we're on easy this week, so let's see what happens. And it's a rating day in the beautiful city of Baltimore, Maryland. And let's go ahead and get this party started. So, one thing about playing in the rain, and just playing, well, let me start by saying this. You see how I fell right away on my own? That's because my screen is cracked, and I'm using the screensaver. So sometimes when you're tapping on the screen, sometimes it thinks that you're doing a stutter step or diving when you don't want to. So make sure that you keep your screen clean and protected when you're playing this game. And nothing new here. We're just going to enjoy the game and the conversation. One of my college football teammates played for the Baltimore Ravens by the name of Lionel Dalton. We called him Jelly Roll. And I believe that he was the first player at Eastern Michigan University history to win a Super Bowl. He was on the Baltimore Ravens team that beat the New York Giants back in 2000-2001. Where Brian Billick was the offensive guru there. And the defense had Ray Lewis and company. Jonathan Ogden. I think the Goose was on the team at that time. Shout out to Tony Saragusa, the Goose, who used to get on my nerves because he always had him at the line. They always had him at the on the sideline at the Lions games in the 2000s when the Lions sucked under the Matt Millen era. And it wasn't the Goose. I love the Goose, but it just was annoying that he was always happened to be at the games for the Lions broadcast when they were playing poorly. And all he did was just show you what the Lions were not doing. They weren't winning. So It very irritated, but I didn't take it out on the goose. It just was what it was. Um, Baltimore it's always been one of my favorite franchises. No disrespect to the city of Cleveland when Baltimore left. Um, when you have situations like that, with what Art Modell did, sometimes you have to put your shoe. You have to play the devil's advocate and put your shoe in the other foot. Now it's easy for a person to say, "Well, dang, he's an a-hole for moving the team." But if you ran a franchise and you were losing money, what would you do? Now, some people are loyalists and they'll lose their fortune to keep people happy. Everybody's different, and I'm not going to say this is a right or wrong answer. I had to do what's best for my family first, and the city of Cleveland had to do their part. They wanted Art Modell to pay for the whole stadium. He said, "I am unable to do that." Now, whether or not that was true or not, that was his choice. If you have a city that's willing to pay towards the stadium and you get to maintain your revenue, I mean, if you say, "No, I wouldn't have done that," okay. But anyway, I have a huge amount of respect for all the cities because Detroit is a fabulous sports town. We're very loyal to our fan base. We find it weird when a person says, "I'm an Eagles fan or a Bears fan or a Bulls fan," when they stay in Detroit. Now, if somebody stays in Toledo, Ohio, I can understand. I get that. A lot of people in Toledo, ironically, like Pittsburgh, even though Toledo is in Ohio, and you have Cleveland and Cincinnati. But I guess because Pittsburgh has beef with both teams, I don't know. But nobody in Toledo talks about the Lions one way or the other. They don't hate them or like them one way or the other. They just like Pittsburgh, and very few people like Cleveland. And everybody in Toledo likes Ohio State. Everybody. So as you can see, we picked the correct week to go on easy. What I might do for my future Retro Bowl franchise is, like, if I have a marquee game like this, regardless of what level I'm currently at, I might go to dynamic on purpose to make the game more meaningful, and then that way, when it's time to go back to dynamic, I'll just skip dynamic for a week. So example, I go easy, medium, hard, dynamic. But if the next game is a marquee game, I'll do dynamic again, and then I'll just go easy, medium, hard, and then go back to easy on my next rotation. Because I feel like it'll make it a lot more fun. But the reason why I haven't pulled the trigger on that decision to do dynamic or play to the level of competition yet is because there have been games where I played it on medium and I had a 5-star offense and a 5-star defense, and the team that I played had 3 stars, but they were like running the ball left and right, scoring at will, batting down all my passes. I was like, wait, hold up. So it really doesn't make me any difference. So as you can see, we had our longest running play of the season so far, 75 yards. And we're dominating a very good Baltimore team. But there's a phrase called "It's any given Sunday." And as Chris Berman likes to say, that is why they play the game. You can go in with a 10-star rating against a 21st, 31st ranked defense, and that team may have just came to play, and the other team may not have been focused. So see, that's what I'm talking about right there. So I was trying to juke, and because of how my screen is, it thought I was trying to do a stutter step. So I lost yardage because of that. That's okay, we'll get it back. So there we go. Now, once you get a faster wide receiver, you'll see the difference in how fast they run. And if their stamina is high, that'll maintain throughout the whole game. But the one thing I do like about Retro Bowl is that it's realistic in terms of if a person's stamina is low, that means their conditioning is low. They may run really, really fast at the start of the game and start to get a little bit tired towards the end of the game. So it is what it is with that. Now, we have to play Minnesota again. So we haven't clinched the division yet. And I don't believe that we clinched a playoff spot yet. So we still have a lot of work to do. However, this will be our shortest video so far because it was pretty much cut and dry. We scored a lot. So that means the defense had a lot of possession. In Retro Bowl, where the defense has possession and runs the clock faster. So we're at the 12th game of the week. So we're going to see what our progress is so far. Let's make sure that we go through the press interview so that we don't lose the game. So we'll give the fans the praise to move the fan base up. And everybody had a lot of great games. A lot of people had a great game, to say the least. The running game was on. The passing game was decent. So now, normally I tell people that when it comes to building up your attributes, to build your lowest attribute first. But because we want Jamar Hurt, the running back, to run at full speed, we're going to increase the running back speed first. And then whenever your attributes are at full capacity for a person whose experience levels increased, you get a coaching credit. I think it should be more than one, but something is better than nothing. So we have a two-way tie here. Conditioning is more important than tackling for a DB because you usually have your safeties to support you and your linebackers. So we're going to increase the stamina first since those are kind of tied. That's my preference. You can do whatever you want. So we have Tampa Bay, who used to be in the NFC Central. They have had a disappointing season, at least in conjunction with Tom Brady. But Tom Brady is not in this dimension, I like to say. So there are no real NFL players in this. So let's see how our team is doing since we're at week 12. We like to check every 4 games. So Egbule is having a great season. Only 5 interceptions, only sacked 10 times. He's also ran for 4 touchdowns, which is good. Herbig, despite missing 3 games, is going to go well over 1,000 yards. He already has 22 touchdowns rushing. Over 500 yards receiving, which is pretty impressive, considering that he missed 3 games and 5 touchdowns. So he already has over 1,600 yards from scrimmage, which is good for a running back. Golden Blake, a.k.a. Golden Tate, may have a chance to have 2,000 yards receiving. He already has 104 receptions, 19 touchdowns, and he's on pace to destroy Calvin Johnson's single season receiving record, and probably could break the receptions record as well. Tavon Hoyer has knocked down 165 players that he's blocked. Gillen, not playing as good as we would like, but he's part of a 5-star defense. Clark has come in late and it's made a huge impact already. Andy Gilmore's having a good season tackle-wise, and so is Jay Sean McCray and Evan Rivers. And our kicking game is decent, 87% between the extra points and field goals. So we're looking good there. Now, in terms of the standings, SC Washington only has 6 wins, but they may only need to win one more game to win the East. Or if everybody else loses, so the whole NFC East loses next week, the Redskins will have clinched the NFC East with only 6 wins. Seattle's looking good. So is New Orleans, who beat us. So we have to watch out for them. They've been on a little hot streak lately. So they were only 5-3. So they've won 3 out of the last 4 games. And we want to hurry up and clinch the division. Our point differential is high, as you can see. Going over to the AFC, Buffalo and New England are still fighting back and forth. Kansas City is Kansas City, and Tennessee's having a great season. Now, in a playoff picture, under the new format, Cleveland is working hard to maintain that 7th spot to get back into the postseason. The biggest surprise, in my opinion, in the AFC to me is the Tennessee Titans, because they're playing better than Kansas City and Baltimore. Of course, we're the biggest surprise of the NFC. I would say that Washington is also a surprise, considering everything that they've been through the past few years, even with the naming controversy this year. Arizona's a huge surprise at 8-3, and the Rams are figuring things back out again. So Minnesota and Green Bay and Carolina are fighting for that 7th spot. Now in Retro Bowl currently, the playoff format is only 6 teams per conference, but of course it has expanded to 7 teams per conference. So our next game is going to be against the Tampa Bay franchise. I'm not going to say team names because I don't want to get into copyright infringement or anything like that. So we'll see what happens in the next game. And thanks again for your time. Please like and subscribe. And we enjoyed you once again. You have a great day, night, or evening, and I'll talk to you soon.